tell you how to enslave the human population. You know, because we have a lot of people in the country. Fake German accent, right? So how do we enslave the human population? Oh, bear with me before you draw any conclusions, okay? You know, by the time that they reach college, we're going to send them a lot of offers for free credit cards. Now, the discriminating mind of the typical 20-something desperately wants to buy new stuff and does not consider the consequences. So what we will do is we will flood college campuses with offers of credit cards. They will be enslaved to us for the rest of their lives. They will perpetually desire what they can do with our credit card, and we will have an unending stream of cash to our financial institutions. Absolutely an excellent idea. We will, in fact, airdrop, place booths, and send out representatives to every college campus to sign people up for free credit cards. People must be made to believe that through brainwashing that they should have the wealth collected for higher education for their children, but rather than educate them, we will brainwash them into groupthink. Additionally what we must do is rob the bodies of the common human to be able to eat healthy food. We will sell them cheap soda full of chemicals which will shorten their lives and kill them. It will eat them up from within. Think of nifty things like mac and cheese and diet soda and Doritos. Instead of selling them food which will strengthen their bodies, we will sell them chemicals that we will cover in sugar so they become submissive. But they're still able to work for the collective which supports us. Sugar weakens the minds, and we must foremostly control their minds. What else must we do? We need to sell them cheap crap made of plastic, designed to fail. On the inside, we call this planned obsolescence. So that every 2 years, they're forced to buy a new one. This is the planned obsolescence, which will help us to enslave the human population. We have the ability to make things that last, but that is not a good idea, to sell something that will last and last. We must design it to work well, but it will fail within a period of a year or two. That way they're forced to buy another one from us. When they get sick, we will pollute their bodies with chemicals to make them die faster. Chemotherapy, psychotic-inducing antidepressant drugs. Everybody will be diagnosed as depressed. And when we have them addicted to the pills, then they are addicted to the health insurance, which supplies the pills. And when they're addicted to having the health insurance to supply them with the pills that controls their minds and kills them, they must therefore work themselves to death to pay for that health insurance. This is our plan. Because sick people are a burden upon society. Once they become sick, they need to quickly die. Everybody must have a cheap, inexpensive TV set. The most important thing is that we need to make sure that large, beautiful television sets that are very stunning are very inexpensive. Every home, no matter how poor, must own a luxurious, brilliant, large-screen TV set. With it, we are able to enter their homes without trespassing, enter their minds without permission. We will flood their minds with our own insidious plans so that they will bend their will to ours. When they look into this TV set, they will eat the food that we tell them to eat, which kills them and destroys their minds and breaks their will. We will kill their minds with our message through the inexpensive, beautiful, large TV set. Above all, we must control information, the flow of information, what people think and understand and see. When we control information, we control the world. When we control their minds and we control their bodies by poison, we will control them ultimately. Above all, we must work every man, woman, and child to death. Have them die young, worrying about the debt that we've placed them in. If they're worried about paying bills, they have no time to think for themselves. Every waking free second of the citizen's life must not be spent in free thought. It must be spent in worry about bills and paying off debt that we have placed them in. They will have no time to think, to reason. This, above all else, we must make come to pass. We must prevent free thought. Above all else, we control their bodies, we control their minds. We feed them delicious food, which is really chemicals laced with sugar and poison, which will eat them up and destroy them from within. Nobody can graduate or get a degree if they think for themselves. This is above all forbidden. You cannot have prestige in our society if you can think for yourselves. We will bestow degrees upon those who conform and bend to our will, and in so bending, they will serve our needs, and in serving our needs, they will serve to enslave others to serve our needs. To curb population, we must place every human being so deep into debt that they're afraid to have a child, for fear that the cost of raising a child will destroy them. Foremost, we must have the citizens fat and sick and miserable and worried about their bills and their debts and making ends meet. And by this we shall enslave them all. They will be too busy to think or reason for themselves. They will be miserable, in debt, worried. They will be enslaved, body, mind, and therefore we have them. In this, we will never have to meet them. We will never have to shake hands with them. We will enslave them. We will own them completely and entirely from top to bottom. From cradle to grave, we will own them, and they will serve us. And we must have an inexpensive TV set in every house to tell them what to think, what to believe. We will control the information. We control the information. We control what they eat. We control what they think. We control the amount of free thought that they have, which is none, because they will be worried all the time about bills and debt and jobs and utilities, house insurance, car insurance, property taxes. We will tax them to death, and they will worry about those taxes. There will not be one free waking moment where a human being is allowed to think and take a deep breath worry-free. And by this means, we shall enslave every man, woman, and child, every race, every creed, young or old, black or white, makes no difference. They all serve us and our will. The Did that sound like hyperbole to you, or did that actually sound accurate? Because, well, I definitely don't like conspiracy people. That was incredibly accurate. And you know it. And if you think it wasn't, then you are deeply enslaved. Not literally, but you're deeply enslaved. Tell me how accurate this video was. Tell me. Come on, I can take it. Tell me how accurate it was. It's pretty accurate, wasn't it? That's right. Do whatever makes you happy, but above all, be a free thinker. And don't be a slave to anybody else's will. Nobody. Be your own master. Okay? Bye. Oh, and lux y veritas.
How do you master your mind?
By acknowledging that you have the ability to think the thoughts that you mean to think. By realizing that you don't have to be a reactor, that you can be a thinker. But by accepting that law of attraction abounds And that if there is already some momentum going, it's not wrong that the momentum keeps going that way. The first step in mastery of your own mind is not being mad at yourself because you don't have mastery of your own mind. It's relaxing and giving yourself a break and acknowledging that it is possible. And then most of all, noting when. Pay attention to the correlation between good feeling thoughts that you've thought and good feeling results that you've found. Esther had an experience of mastery fairly recently. A person asked her for a job, and she was in a state of overwhelmment when he asked her. She was leaving one of her houses, and there were many things that needed to be tended to, and she knew that she couldn't tend to them from a distance. And so he presented himself, and she felt like she was in a receptive mode because it seemed like a good idea to her. But her receptive mode was one of overwhelmment, too much to do. And so she hired him, and he was not an effective person in that job, far from it. Where later, when she was feeling such appreciation in the same place, feeling such appreciation about what was going on, another person presented himself to her, and she thought it was the best idea she had ever heard. Well, she thought the other was a pretty good idea too. But this felt like a really good idea, and because she was in a good feeling place, as that played out, it's been flawless and wonderful and productive and effective. So she accomplished mastery, you might say, after the fact in this way. She remembered how she felt when she hired that guy. And she saw the results that she got from that hiring. And then she remembered how she felt when she got that guy, and she saw the results of that hiring. See what we're getting at? So mastery is really just paying attention to how you feel and paying attention to what comes as a result of how you've been feeling. But if you're not deliberate about it, if you're just thinking about this and thinking about this and reacting to that and reacting to that, then it's harder to accomplish that mastery. It's the association. It's knowing the rules of the game, playing them deliberately, and watching for the results.